I'm going to do a trail review today, and this is the Croom mountain bike trails in central Florida, and this is about as central as you can get for Florida. And the closest town would be Brooksville, and you can get information about this trail by going to swampclub.org. If you're down in this area, this is a trail you should check out. It's been quite a while since I've been here. The last time I was here was for a 50-mile mountain bike event that was all single track. And I had a cyclocross race in the area today, and it was the last race of the season and the banquets tonight, so I had a whole day to kill, a whole afternoon I should say. And so I came over here not knowing, I just didn't remember what these trails are like, and they far surpassed my expectation. The trails are, the great thing about this place is it's remote. Even the trailheads are somewhat remote. But when you're out riding, you are absolutely away from anywhere. Probably one of the most remote mountain bike trails in Florida, and that's what I love about it. I've got a business trip to New York City in a couple days, and getting some solitude in the woods is a great way for me to prepare for the urban jungle. So the trails here are pretty rolling. I thought they were going to be flat. But they have a lot of sinkholes that you drop down into, and there is a section that I'll show on my GoPro video. It's a section called Drunken Munkey. So Drunken Munkey is a trail that just has berms, it's hard packed, it's fast, it's up and down, it's like a roller coaster. Definitely surprised me when I was out here. Other than that, there's a lot of climbing here for Florida. Some decent sustained climbs, not super steep unless you're dropping down into one of the sinkholes that I mentioned. But the loop that I did, I call it the blue loop. When you look on the map, it's the blue loop. It's 24 miles. And you know, the thing that really surprised me was I thought it would be sandy. Didn't hit that much sand at all because we've been really dry in Florida. And a lot of these trails in Florida that are kind of in the pine type woods get really sandy if it's been dry, and the trails were hard packed. I mean, there is a little bit of sand, but not much. And the trail, you know, there's a lot of pine straw and leaves on the trail, but nothing that would make it too slippery. And there's other loops. There's a red loop that's a little bit shorter, and a yellow loop. It's kind of right in the middle. So the 24-mile blue loop was good. This is a trail that you could rail. I mean, you could fly. I met up with a couple locals out here and rode with them for a little bit, got on a guy's wheel, and you can rail out here. I was pretty tired from racing cyclocross this morning, so I didn't push it too hard except for maybe about 20 minutes or so. But really fast trail, really fun. As far as bikes, I rode my Niner RKT9. I'll show some photos here at the end of the video. Perfect bike for out here. You could easily get away with a hardtail. Anything more than 100 millimeters of travel would be totally overkill for this place. I mean, you could do it. You could, you know, probably the max bike that I would recommend is maybe a 120 millimeter travel trail bike, just what's typical for Florida. But there's probably some bike shops in the area you could rent a bike from. So probably not a place you would travel out of state to visit, but if you are in the area, definitely check this place out. Croom Mountain Bike Trails. So let me show you some video here.
All right, so when I recorded this video, I did not have my chest mount, which is my preferred method of holding my GoPro. And I put the GoPro on my helmet. And obviously had the camera pointed down a little bit too much, but I just wanted to include this one section to show this is what the trail is mostly like. So it's not real tight. Some Florida trails really just twist and turn back on themselves a lot. The trails in Croom will, you know, they just cover a lot of land. And this Withlacoochee State Forest is, I think, about 10,000 acres in this area. Just a lot going on. There's hiking trails, horse trails. There is a lot of motorcycle trails. So you can hear some motorcycles off in the distance. You see some sand right there. There's not a lot of sand. So now we're dropping into the Drunken Munkey section. This is the only section that's like this as far as this many drops and things like that. But this was a really fun section, like I said earlier. I would say the skill level for this section is about intermediate. no drops where, you know, you need to drop your seat post or having to lean back real far. Most of this trail is, I would say, beginner. There's a few intermediate sections. You'll get to, when you get to like the sinkholes, you'll see a harder section and an easier section, and the signage on these trails are marked really well. Like I said, I did the blue loop, and it was really easy to follow. There's even some bailouts where you can go to the road. I did this loop in a counterclockwise direction, which is what I would recommend. This section that I'm on now, the Drunken Munkey section, is better when you do it the counterclockwise. So this trail, I was surprised. I thought I would double back over the trail, but whoever built this trail did a great job, because you never cross the trail. It looks like, I don't know how, because it's all over the place, but you never have to cross the trail. It's just one continuous trail. And so, like I said, this is the only section on the whole 24-mile loop that was like this, so twisty and turny. Like I was saying earlier, the trail just covers a lot of land. The turns are not that tight. And I mentioned that sand. So the pine straw that was on the trail actually kind of helps with the sand. It mixes with the sand, so it's not too sandy in these dry seasons. And I was talking to one of the locals here, and he told me that this trail does really good in the summertime. And there's a pretty good amount of shade on this entire trail. Some of it's through pine forest, where you know the foliage is not real dense, like we have in some other trails in Florida. But I think it'd be enough for riding in the summer to keep most of the sun off of you. But like I said, these trails dry out pretty good with our heavy rains that we get in Florida. The winter time in Florida is typically a drier time of the year, but like I said, these trails did really well. So this whole thing is like a roller coaster. Some really good berms on this trail. Really fun section. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, there are some decent little climbs, and the land is fairly rolling. Even when you're driving to the trailhead, the roads are a little bit more rolling than what you would typically find in Florida. And so here's a little log bridge. So yeah, the climbs are not steep here. It just kind of flows with the contour of the land, but really nice. Really nice trail system. I think you can do at least 35 continuous miles of single track here if you add in the yellow and red loop. And I want to say you could probably get up to 50 miles, because that event that I did, that they have every year in, I believe it's January, the Croom 50, is just 50 miles of continuous single track, no double track at all. And like I said, it's really remote, and that's one thing that I really appreciate about these trails, is just how remote they are. So some good berms here. I didn't really know this trail that well, so I couldn't rail it, but apologize for the GoPro pointing down. I don't normally wear it on my helmet, and now I know why, because it just kind of hangs down too much. I like the chest mount, and the handlebar mount just moves around too much. So there's your footage of the trail. Hey, thanks for watching the video, and I'll close it out with some photos here. So just check out these photos, and like I said, if you're in the area down here, definitely check this place out. And I do want to mention too that the trailhead that I parked is right next to the Withlacoochee State Trail, which is a paved rail trail, which is really nice and pretty long. I think it's 46 miles, 47 around there, so really long rail trail system, and it goes right next to the trailhead here, so a lot of cycling to do. Thanks for watching.